Good morning, everyone. Thank you for being here today. It's me again, Cerulean Alcano, and I hope you're all doing fine and ready for our next lesson. So, for today's discussion, we will be tackling about presenting and plating cakes. So, it is important to know how to plate and present cakes properly. Pastry chefs and restaurants spend a lot of their time to plate desserts so that they look good as they taste. So we all know that the visual appearance of your location and the food is the first and longest lasting impression your dining guests will notice. If the presentation of the food is bad, our brains will naturally tell us we should not eat it, or it may not be as what we had hoped. On the contrary, if the food presentation looks good, our brains will believe it will taste as great as it looks, and our excitement engrosses us in the full experience. So, here are the tips on how to present and plate cakes. So, the first one is be creative with color. So, a splash of color can bring your desserts to life. In plating desserts, most especially cakes, you can combine colors enough for them to harmonize well together, allowing the freshness of the food to remain in balance. Using too much of one color can diminish the overall effect. Use your plating as a canvas or frame in the same way you would use garnishes and sauces to highlight your creation. So the second one is combine textures. So adding different textures of the plate adds excitement to the visual appeal of the dessert course, and the enjoyment only continues when the eating commences. So the different textures excite the senses, giving an anticipatory sense of the taste pleasures to come. So the third one is compose your plate. So there are many ways to compose a plate. Consider the plate as if it were a blank canvas or as if you were composing the frame for photograph. So the composition of your plate is also very critical. It can determine the success of a dish, including features such as taste and flavor. The looks of a dessert on a plate tempts your guests' eyes, making them want to taste it. So the fourth one is consider the vessel. So it may seem like a common sense, but consider the experience of eating the dessert when you choose the type of plate. So don't serve it in a too tiny plate which may have garnish bubbling off, and on the table once on the tines of a fork hit the dessert. Okay, so the fifth one is contrast temperatures. So combining temperatures can be a beautiful thing, but your plating does require some consideration. Do not put your dessert on a hot plate. A slightly chilled plate may be helpful when plating cold desserts, whereas room temperature will do just fine for most cakes or pies. So now let's proceed to sixth, let it be dramatic. So have a little fun with your cake. Employ tricks to add some magic to the presentation. Try recreating gravity-defying aspects taught in a crafty class. Gravity-defying cake rains on a mini scale. Or make a perfect dessert hover with the use of a white chocolate wafer, which then melt into it to create an amazing effect. People enjoy a little pomp and circumstance with their meal. Okay, so let's proceed to 7. Don't make it too tall or wobbly. A sense of layer cake looks fantastic standing up on a plate, but if it's too tall, there's a strong chance of it toppling over even in a short journey to where it is being served. So that is why it is important to not make our cake presentation too tall or wobbly. So the eighth one is garnish with care. So keep in mind how the garnish will function on the finished plate. Garnishes can be used to enhance plate presentation, to add color, interest, taste, and texture as long as they harmonize with the foods and accurately represent what is contained with the dish. So the last but not the least, be consistent. So when plating cakes, be consistent in your design and serving size. It can be confusing to see different presentation on each plate, and nobody likes looking over to a plate across the table and seeing the serving double in the size. So to decorate and finish pastry products is just as important to the success of any food or dish. It is the way the food looks on the plate as what tempts your eyes and want to taste it. So here's the standards to be followed when decorating and finishing pastry products. So first is color of the product. So color should harmonize with the product since it stimulates sense of sight and enhance one's appetite. So it is important that the presentation and plating must be eye-catching. Then the next one we have also appearance. So it is about the form and shape after baking the product. So each piece or slice should have the same size, shape, and form. So the plate needs to be visually appealing. Through the balanced use of color and shape, you can present a dessert simply and elegantly. Then we have also consistency. So it is the uniformity of grains and textures and how it feels in the mouth when eating the product. So consistency in baking is a key. Especially if you want to make sure your product is the same each time so that the consumer can get the same product they know and love. So the last but not the least, moisture content. So this refers to the amount of moisture that is present in the product. Moistness also enhances flavor and palatability, which adds to the shelf life and mouthfeel of the product. In addition, the moisture content of the pastry products like cakes plays a key role in determining its eating quality and acceptance by customers. So this is the end of our lesson presenting and plating cakes. Thank you for your time and attention. So if you have further questions and clarifications, please don't hesitate to contact me and approach me. Okay, so may the Lord God bless us all. Thank you everyone.